week it's been! What a week it's been in films. The trailer went up online for the new Liam Neeson film Tekken 3. I've got to be honest, it doesn't look very faithful to the original computer game. A new parody law has been passed. It's quite an impenetrable work and hard to understand, and ironically, a lot of people don't get it. Mind you, help is at hand, and anyone who doesn't get the parody law can look it up in the reference section of the library. Ghostbusters 3 was announced, and it's been confirmed that it will have an all-female cast. And 2 days after the announcement, the internet was still tiresome, as everyone, both for and against, gibbered like dickheads, all the while having nothing to say. I have no interest in seeing another Ghostbusters film whatsoever, even if they had the original surviving cast members in it. I have absolutely no interest whatsoever. But now Sony have gone and made it with an all-female cast, which means I now have to see it just to prove that that wasn't the reason I didn't have any interest in seeing it in the first place. It's basically a night out and 13 quid, or I'm basically Dapper Laughs. Well played, Sony. Well played. The script for Blade Runner 2 is ready. Let's hope Deckard isn't a replicant, or that's going to be a bit of a pisser for the makeup crew. As pressing as Blade Runner was, it got a few things wrong, such as backing the Nexus 6 over the iPhone 5. And believing that a Nexus or anything would have a 4-year battery. A 4-year battery, Jesus Christ. Phone batteries have such a low lifespan, I'm amazed they aren't made in Angola. And finally, the sequel to Fight Club 2 is going to be a comic book. Imagine having to do the press for Fight Club 2. So, tell me about Fight Club. And so concludes the jokes, inverted commas, of the week. I was going to talk a little bit about 3D. I'm not a fan of 3D movies. I don't like 3D movies. To me, 3D is an excuse to get charged extra money to wear glasses that give you a headache. I do not like 3D. I don't think real films are made in 3D. I don't like it. Also, I just find that the 3D glasses don't work on me. I don't know if anyone else has this when they go to the cinema. 3D glasses don't work. I don't know if I've got weird eyes or whether I'm just belligerent on a genetic level. But when I go to cinema and I put some 3D glasses on, I look at the screen, and I'm looking up at the screen, and there's no depth whatsoever. I'm hoping the next time I go to the cinema to see a 3D film, I can get a pair of glasses that create the illusion of subtext. I think 3D people goes too far. They talk about doing the third American Ring film in 3D. I don't know if the third American Ring film is going to be in 3D. I'm not sure if you've seen the Japanese or American Ring films, but she's already actually come out the telly. I don't know what more you're expecting her to do with the aid of 3D. To Ash Frith!
Hello, you alright? I'm not sure what my favourite film is, but I definitely know. I'm a massive Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy fan, the book of, obsessed by it. So I do know what my least favourite film is, which is the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Which is it makes no sense whatsoever. Don't know why he fell in love. Shouldn't have fallen in love. Don't make any sense. I best start with a joke, so you don't hate me. Classic joke. Why is 6 scared of 7? Just a scary film. Just a scary film. And he's 6, and it was an 18, so he shouldn't have been watching it in the first place. So it's bad parenting all round, I would say. And that bit with Gwyneth Paltrow's head in the box. Awful. Spoiler alert. Yeah, no, that's yeah. I did that joke before, and someone said, spoiler alert. No, it's not. It's about 10 years old, that film, isn't it? It's daunting. Like, doing stand-up is easy, really, to a certain extent, because you can just talk nonsense. But when Richard asks you to come do stuff about films, I always panic, because I know that he knows everything about every film that's ever been made, and I know you guys are probably massively into films, and I like films, but I don't know anything about films. Is a massive problem. So I thought, right, but the best thing to do is don't pick films that everyone would know to talk about. But I don't know anything about any other films, so I've chosen one you might have heard of. Just some observation I made on a film called Star Wars. I don't know if you know anything about it. And so all of these, I don't know if you're genuinely, because there are people who like live their life, they're really obsessed by films like that, and I don't know whether everything I've thought of has either A, been thought of before, or if there's just clearly answers to all the questions. It's like, why are you saying that about that? Of course he's green. No, we know why, because he comes from... So I was just thinking, I was watching Star Wars, and I thought... just the fact, like, Han Solo, have we all seen Star Wars? Yeah, in general. Like, everyone's seen Star Wars. Han Solo is... he's a smuggler and a criminal, and he's a down-and-out sort of terrible person, really. And he takes on the job of helping them rescue Princess Leia. And then he refuses to help any further. Like, when they're going to go and fight the Death Star, he goes, no, I've got my money, I'm not interested, I've done my bit. And he buggers off. It's only that he's talked into going back to the fight by his dog that he actually decides to get back involved, flies in, he shoots one ship, and then says, oh, go on, kids, finish the job, or whatever he says. You'll know the quote. I don't even know that he blows one of the ships up. I think he shoots one ship into Darth Vader's ship, so they go spinning out. I'm not even sure if they die. And then, so he then... gets back, like they destroy the Death Star, he gets back, he's then made Captain Solo. I'm just thinking, like, I don't know all the Star, like Biggs, for example, I know is a character who's probably been in the Rebel Alliance for like 10 years. Like, what do you mean, Captain Solo? I've got my badges, this is ridiculous! He doesn't even wear the uniform! Why have I got to wear this stupid orange and white get-up? He's in a bloody waistcoat! He's wearing a leather waistcoat! Captain, so it's ridiculous! And then, what's worse than that is, I don't know if you've obviously seen it, but then in Empire Strikes Back, he gets frozen in carbonite for pretty much most of the film. And then halfway through Return of the Jedi, he's thawed out. They make him general. He hasn't done anything. He has done nothing. In 6 years, he's gone from smuggler, convict, to general in the Rebel Alliance. Doesn't make any... It's just ridiculous. What a ridiculous place to work. And then, like, Solo sort of starts ordering people around. He goes, right, we've got to go and look for Luke. Get this snow speeders and we'll go and look for Luke. And they go, no, well, that's thousands of pounds worth of flying. Like, you can't, it's going to cost like tens of thousands of pounds to go and look for one man in this absolute Arctic tundra. We're not going to do that. But they can't anyway, because the guy goes, no, they've not been acclimatised to the conditions. They're called snow speeders, aren't they? Why weren't they ready? What were they waiting for? And they're in a base underground. There's intricate tunnel systems. There's like pipe work, electrical. They've got a medical centre that they sort of eventually get Luke back on his feet when they do eventually get him. They've done all of that, but no one thought about preparing the snow speeders. They must have been there months. Literally, are they ready yet? Oh, shit, no, what do you have to do? It's going to take, well, they'll be ready by tomorrow morning, but we haven't done anything yet. It's ludicrous. Ash Frith!
And now it's time to bring out our special guest for this episode. So, ladies and gentlemen, will you please welcome Mr. David Reed?
Hello.
Hello.
Thank you, too kind.
So, David, for the benefit of people at home who have no idea who you are,
yes,
would you please explain who you are?
Who am I? Justify yourself. I am a writer, actor, comedian. I do lots of things, but I am also the host of a film podcast. It's a very popular pastime now called Film Fandango. So that is me.
Was you always a fan of films as like a kid and that?
Yes.
Or you've always been sort of
hugely. I think I've thought about this a lot recently, and I think a lot of my entire personality is down to the fact that my dad avidly recorded films off the telly onto VHS. And I would just watch those again and again and again. And it's probably why I'm a comedian as well, because he recorded a lot of comedy shows, but also movies. He had a Betamax. He went for the wrong team. You know, it was early days. Yeah. It was the old Bluetooth, or what was it? Not Bluetooth, Blu-ray, or what was the other option? HD. What was it called? DVD HD that just failed. It was that one. You got to pick a side. You got to pick a side. I still have somewhere in my house in York a Betamax copy of Star Wars. From the first time it was on British television.
Fantastic.
That's got to be worth a quid or two, hasn't it? Literally a quid or two.
I've got the VHS of when Star Wars was on ITV when I was a kid. It's probably the same thing, but I got it on VHS.
Yeah. It still has those title plates, that they did before the advert breaks. And we've properly stopped the recording at the right place, so it just goes title plate. Title plate, and we're back on.
That's the joy. I'd like, I think it would be lovely. People are doing things like, let's pretend this was made in the 70s and all that kind of thing. I think now when you release a thing on DVD, before the film starts, not trailers and adverts, it should just be 10 minutes of like Gardener's World because you had to set the timer for it before you went out. So
absolutely.
It's like, this, you can know, I could buy Series 6 of Red Dwarf, but then I won't have all those last 10 minutes of Gardener's World where I've set it on timer.
I think when we recorded Return of the Jedi, because it was on TV for the first time, I think it was something like, they're always on at Christmas, those things, but I think it was like Christmas Eve or something, which is my brother's birthday, the bastard. And so we had to leave the VHS running and go out, and I was furious about that. I was just like, I don't know, what if it's not on for another 2 hours?
And of course, the other thing we did that was not always did you had to get up and press fast forward physically on the machine as well. So this was all this. This was a big deal. So that's why the important thing, which do they still do that on telly now? They have the sort of the black and white.
That still exists on
thing.
some TV shows, and apparently it's because TVs used to have like a plastic border around the edges that would be covered up by. But now we want the full picture and they're square, so you can see that little. You know what we're talking about? The little flashy edit.
It's like this. It's like the TV cigarette burn.
That's exactly it. That's exactly what.
But you watch it and you go, the show's about to finish, or there'll be an ad break in a minute because that black and white squirrely thing, like the sort of the weird thing. Yeah. See, people don't know. They just press a button and click and they get an HD version. They don't know they're born.
They don't know they're born. I remember making home videos with 2 VCRs to edit.
So did I. Yeah.
Record,
VCR,
play, stop.
VCR to VCR. Yeah. Go down the video shop, get a video, watch it. Go. That was quite good. I'll keep that. Give you the video back. Yeah. It's good. It
was good.
It's just basically, illegal but wonderful. But then all the interesting stuff, often when you were growing up as well, was on at 2 a.m, and if you had school or something, it wasn't feasible really to stay up and watch, all of Moviedrome or the Peter Greenaway season on Channel 4.
Peter Greenaway, I managed to get his email address, what? Don't judge me.
I would think that online is the worst place to meet Peter Greenaway.
No, genuinely, it was very nice. It was when I was at university and doing quite a bit of drama because I didn't want to do my course, and myself and a friend. It wasn't maths. It was not maths, not anything useful. But myself and a friend who is now a famous playwright called Lucy Kirkwood, we wanted to do The Cook, the Thief, His Wife and Her Lover as a play.
Brilliant.
And we wrote to Peter Greenaway and said, so sorry to bother you, but who do we go to for the rights for this? Because we can't find it anyway. And he went, oh, that's me. And he just replied going, yeah, best of luck. If it gets to the West End, take me out for a meal. Otherwise, knock yourself out. It was like awesome. So we put it to the student theatre, and they turned it down. so that never happened.
You know what I think is most disappointing about that not being a play at university is not like the art department having to do the visuals. It's the music department deciding to like do their own reworking of Michael Nyman's staccato score.
Oh.
Which is, it's a great soundtrack.
Or a student trying to replicate Michael Gambon's performance. I mean, that was never going to work.
I really like Peter Greenaway. He's one of the actors. He's one of those people where I kind of can't tell whether he's taking the piss or not because his films are so ludicrously like preposterous.
Have you seen Prospero's books?
Yeah,
incredible.
It's great. Zed and Two Noughts is my favourite. Yeah, that's the one in a zoo. That's got Jim Davidson in it.
Yeah, there's one.
Jim Davidson's in it, and he's actually quite good. Doesn't say anything racist.
There's one,
but
what a shame. I know. There's one where Ralph Fiennes is mauled by a bull.
That's a Baby of Macon.
Yes,
the Baby Julia Ormond. Ralph Fiennes, and he gets killed by a bull.
Do you know Peter Greenaway's stuff? audience.
Yeah.
It's well worth watching. It's weird.
Journey by Numbers is
Journey by
quite
Numbers
good because it goes through like 1 to 100 throughout the film in like different things. It's quite good. Yeah, it's very good. But it's good because it's. Well, I think it's one thing we watch a lot of Peter Green films where people go, oh, let's watch something like Game of Thrones or those sorts of shows. You're like, well, I've already seen really weird, bizarre, crazy shit that's really sexual and violent with brilliant Shakespearean actors in it.
Like it's on a stage, though, because a lot of it's just shot from one side, isn't it? And lit like it's,
Well, the thing about Peter Greenaway is I always say about Peter Greenaway. Well, I don't always say it because I'm very rarely talk about Peter Greenaway. Very popular. The thing I always say about Peter Greenaway.
And I doubt you will again.
No. But he makes great cinema, terrible films.
Interesting. Interesting.
So some of his films could be like
he's directing the next Thor film. I heard.
That would be brilliant. It wouldn't, but it would. It would. Yeah. Although he's another one of those people where his films haven't been good recently. That sort of when.
I've sort of tailed off.
He's done now. Sort of what happened to Nicholas Roeg in the 80s, where you kind of go, oh, this track. Was it track 29? That weird.
Yeah, I didn't watch it.
Yeah, no, it was terrible. You're like, you did these movies. Why are you doing? It's like, don't know, but his
muse John Gielgud is no longer with us.
That's true. I don't think he's in John Gielgud. I like John Gielgud. Now, is it? John Gielgud is a head actor, not a body actor. Lawrence Olivier's a body actor. John Gielgud is it's all about his head, which is why Prospero's got lots of
I've only seen him in Prospero's books and Arthur.
So,
where he just plays the same character, doesn't he? Basically, an ancient wizard and a butler.
They say that John Gielgud's a brilliant actor, but as I never went to the theatre, I have no frame of reference whether this is true or not. Whereas other actors who did films, I can tell you they're good because I've seen them actually do things.
Yeah.
So John,
have you seen any film actors in the theatre?
Now, I saw when I was at school. Doing my GCSEs, one of our texts was A View from the Bridge.
Right.
So I saw the West End production of that, which had Bernard Hill and Joseph Fiennes, but he wasn't called Joseph Fiennes when he was.
What do you mean he wasn't called?
He had a different stage name. He was like something else.
He was called Wee Jimmy Cranky.
What was he? No, it was something Fiennes. He had a different name. Yeah, he had a different name, but it was definitely him. It was pitched definitely him, and it was very good. View from the Bridge. I don't know if you've seen A View from the Bridge. It's Arthur Miller, so it's not quite Mamet. But
lots of shouting,
lots of "That's my name," which is the Crucible. But it's lots of that sort of thing.
I played him at school. I had that speech.
Did you? Yeah. That's my name. Didn't when England did it? Didn't Time Out give it 6 stars because it's the best thing we've ever seen. It's the only thing I've ever seen that deserves 5 stars is not doing it justice.
Not
6 stars.
Amount of shouting.
Yeah. And that's the shoutiest Crucible I've ever seen.
If I knew my death was inevitable in the next few days, I would scream my lungs out.
I only
about my name mostly, I think. Yeah.
There was some other stuff about things.
Hysterical women and whatnot. Mostly, I remember a judge.
Yeah.
If I remember rightly, the rest of the cast when I did it hadn't really learnt their lines. So Act 3 it was of indeterminate length. People riffed around the lines. Yes.
Oh. I forget the time when the priest went, so here we are. Let's burn some witches, right? Guys, that's my name. Yeah, you said. Doesn't work.
Oh, it stays with you when you've played the Proctor. The lines do stay with you.
Yeah. It's terrible. What I find really terrible is I've done so many different things. Not I've done loads of acting, but I've done some other. But it's weird how
you're in those Reed adverts.
I've done some adverts.
Yeah.
Not too shabby. I've had at least 2 lines in many TV shows.
Yeah. Any days of 3 lines are coming.
Oh, I know. I've been in more than one scene in at least 2 things.
All right, don't rub it in.
But I've never played anyone famous on the screen. Unlike you, who has played. Is it just one famous person on the screen? Or?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not meaning sketches, but
No, I played Peter Cook in the David Walliams starring Frankie Howard, Rather You Than Me, for all of 18 seconds. And to help the audience along, my opening line was, "Hello, I'm Peter Cook."
And what was your closing line?
It was a look.
Yeah.
It was just a look.
Yeah.
It was the weirdest morning of my life because it was very early on. I hadn't really done any television before. And a car came and picked me up at stupid o'clock, like 5 a.m. or something ridiculous, which I'd never been up at 5 a.m. in my life when I'd been to sleep just before. And got there and, met David Walliams and Rafe Spall, who was playing his lover, and did my scene. I was back home in my front room by 9:30 a.m. going, what just happened? That's the weirdest morning. I have no idea. Yeah, so I nailed it, obviously. Yeah. I really feel I did it justice rather than I was terrified and doing a voice. It was incredible to get that. But no, great fun. Yeah. David Walliams is a very nice man, very big hands.
Very big, wow.
Very big. No wonder he's a swimmer. They're like oars. It's like shaking hands with a boat. And you can quote me on that.
They call me the paddler. And now it's time for the hashtag game, which, if you've heard the show before, is where we do live a hashtag game. Like you might get on Twitter. If you don't know what a hashtag game is, grow up. I'm not going to waste valuable airtime explaining to you what a very simple modern thing is, you idiots. No?
No. Well, it's fine.
It's fine. Yeah, fuck them.
I think the people who don't understand what a hashtag game is aren't going to download podcasts by and large.
No. Well, you'd hope so.
Yeah.
But, so this time it's two movies out. It's basically two movies, one movie. So it's two film titles together to make another movie.
It's a mashup. It's
a mashup.
The Freddy versus Jason of
yes. So I'll start us off with a few. Casino Evil, Hear No Evil.
I like that.
Big Trouble in Little China O'Brien.
Yes.
Manhattan Murder Mystery Men. Dolomite Aphrodite. The Colour of Purple Money.
It's purple. The answer is purple.
Correct. And The Bridge Over the River Kwai of the Banshee. Ash, do you have any?
Yeah. I have got The Phantom Dennis the Menace. Mad Max 3, Beyond the Days of Thunderdome. Look Who's Talking, Predator 2. Ghostbuster, starring Phil Collins. From Dusk Till Dawn of the Dead. I Am Legend of the Fall. Mouse Hunt for the Red October.
Takes a lot longer.
A Few Good Men in Black. This one I'm not sure of the connotations of, but Boys in the Red Riding Hood. And Psycho, Brother, Where Art Thou?
Yes.
Lovely. David, do you have some for us?
I feel mine need a bit of explaining.
That's fine.
Okay. This one is possibly the simplest movie. Iron Man in the Iron Mask. It's a straight remake.
Slightly more sort of description rather than title.
Iron Man in the Iron Mask and trousers and gloves. That's the full set, right? Then I've got 50 Shades of the Grey, which is about a woman who has a sexual encounter with a man who punches wolves to death.
I would watch that over
very
50 Shades
horny.
of Grey.
Very horny. Then 7 Samurai Brides for 7 Brothers. It's the sort of, it's a natural extrapolation of Kill Bill, I think, that one. Chitty Chitty Kiss Kiss Bang Bang.
Lovely.
That one explains itself. The Diving Bell and the Butterfly Effect. That's where Ashton Kutcher can only blink to communicate, and so is ignored. And Jurassic Parker, which is where, if people don't know Parker, that's a little-known Jason Statham film where he punches velociraptors in a corridor whilst losing his shirt.
In a series of wacky costumes.
That's right. And I have just realised Jurassic Parker is a pun they do on Friends as well. So I don't think they were referring to the Jason Statham film. But yes.
You could also have Reservoir Dogs Go to Heaven.
Lovely.
Apocalypse Now, Voyager. Project X-Men.
Yeah, Malcolm X-Men.
Malcolm X-Men. That would be terrifying. They still want Tom Hardy to be in it.
Yes. In all things.
Yeah. 3 Days of the Condor Man.
No.
Alien.
90 minutes is enough.
Alien, 3 Men and a Baby. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle Diaries. Star Trek 4: The Voyage Home Alone.
Oh, the crew are all dead.
Ridicule as Ice. This is a Patrice Leconte drama about wit starring Vanilla Ice.
Yes.
Who likes motorbikes and the French court. Finally they put them
together.
Saving Private Jack Ryan Shadow Recruit.
I don't want to.
The Boy Who Could Superfly.
The Superfly Jimmy Snooker story.
And so concludes the hashtag game.
Hey.
Now we come to the part of the show where you talk about your favourite scenes from films, beginning, middle, and end, and we talk about them and then we act them out. If you've not heard this podcast before, that's what happens. Before we go into the ones you actually chosen, are there any films you wanted to choose or thought about that you couldn't do because, as we say, a podcast is a largely audio medium, and so the beginning of X-Men 2 doesn't really work as a podcast.
Very hard to do. Of just like, oh my God, someone protect the president! Ow! That's basically the beginning. Is that Alan Cumming? No. Intros are largely physical. Certainly the ones I like. I mean, some of my favourites that I went through and just went, I can't do that. It's like the intro to Leon. Do you remember that one where he basically takes out an entire building of people, and then you realise it's only one guy doing it? Yeah, and you go, oh, that's
someone's coming. Someone's serious.
Yeah.
It's, I think, the only line, isn't it?
Yeah. And then he just appears out of the darkness behind the main guy with a knife.
Yeah.
And,
It's a brilliant
also,
intro. Sort of, most of Leon would be very difficult to recreate. So for this scene, we decided to blow up Broadway. I really like Leon, but Leon's great. It's
one of those weird films where it was in a period where Gary Oldman was doing far too much. And I mean, I don't mean in terms of working. I just mean like it's weird that on paper his performance is incorrect, but it works for some reason. I think it works in Leon. He's massively big in Leon, and it works in Fifth Element where he's massively big again. It doesn't work in Lost in Space, but Lost in Space doesn't work. That's the main problem. CGI monkey, and
but now with the technology, imagine they rebooted Lost in Space with the monkeys we can do now.
I cannot wait for the CGI monkey documentary, a retrospective.
But you could just make Lost in Space with the same cast again. I'd still watch it. If you just wrote it better.
Who was the girl? She was in Party in 5, wasn't she? Is she still working? Do we know?
I don't remember who.
Is she here tonight?
You're gonna feel pretty stupid when you look on IMDb later and find out she's the president.
I am. Because whenever I look on IMDb for who is the president right now, what's Barack Obama in?
Yeah. I'm seeing a lot of credits under self, but
lazy.
Special thanks, but no, it's not putting the legwork in to actually do any work. Is he?
Sound design, really? Sex in the City. Okay.
Very odd.
Okay, Barack.
Very odd. Very odd.
I humorously mispronounced his name.
He trained under Walter Murch in editing, and it's very, very interesting.
Incredible man. Quite successful. I wish him all the best. So Leon is in there definitely, and I'm trying to think of any others now. And for some reason, and it's my fevered brain rather than my preferences, only car chases from Ronin are in my head. Well, I'm just watching them. Ronin, and they're great.
Ronin's great. I'm a massive fan of Ronin.
Really?
You've seen Ronin. I think Ronin's brilliant because what I liked about it was like You know how like films are not necessarily ahead of their time, but the public isn't ready for them. I suppose that technically makes them ahead of their time, but it's more like public isn't quite
it's
ready. It's
cooler
for it.
and more modern than the era it was in. Because what year was it made? Do you know?
It's 97, I think.
97.
Yeah.
How close to GoldenEye is that?
That's 2 years after GoldenEye.
Yeah, and if you watch GoldenEye now, I loved it when it came out, and it is it's so Roger Moore echoes. It's embarrassing now, and whereas Ronin isn't.
No, Ronin is a proper movie, and it's exciting. It's like the Bourne films.
Yeah, that's
done
exactly
in the 70s.
it. That's
it's done
exactly
properly,
and
so
the car chases are amazing.
Amazing, and it's like it's got Stellan Skarsgård. It's got like everyone in it.
Sean Bean,
Sean Bean, who actually in one of the few films he lives in. Well, that's technically a spoiler alert because he does. Unfortunately,
he cries and then leaves, which is
he's basically
is everything but the death.
Because it's an action movie written by David Mamet. That's why it's brilliant. It's David, so it's just basically lots of nonsense. What colour is the boathouse at Hereford? What's the colour of the roof of the boathouse at Hereford?
Yeah.
As I don't know. What colour is it? Fuck do I know? It's like talking about how I just ambushed you with a cup of coffee and this whole sort of
great. Robert De Niro and then it's sort of like who were the best sort of spies from things? Can we have them all? That would be good.
That's fine. That's all from what's in the case. And also what's good about that is I don't know whether the Robert De Niro character is supposed to be English. Like in the script, because he says lots of things that are very English. Like he says some blokes,
but he's ex-CIA.
He's tied to obviously he's a world traveller. But there's lots of sort of vernacular that infers he could be.
Yeah.
English is like is the suitcase chained to some unlucky bloke's wrist, which an American wouldn't say because there's certain words Americans sound very odd saying, and it's not like pub or bloke. They're just something weird about it. So we're gonna go to the pub. And you're like. Say bar, because I know it's a pub and you know what a pub is, and there's not.
Yeah, let's go to the pub. Us blokes, we'll all go to the pub. Yeah,
I hear it,
and we'll show each other our bollocks.
I hear it's bollocks. yeah. But there's no I in bollocks. It's bollocks. Bollock. That's Blake 7. I was getting on for Blake 7 then. Sorry, I was going to go on a tangent, and I realised
going to go to Belloc. We're chalk and cheese.
Neither of us are really helping.
No.
We're both trying.
No, really hard.
But
really hard.
But Ronin's great. So we've established Ronin's great. But let's go on to the scene you did choose for your favourite opening.
I mean, favourite's such a odd thing, isn't it? It's an opening I've seen. And and I remembered it being good, and so I looked it up on YouTube, and I thought, that's good enough. I'm tired, and so it's from a film I think is very good, and I don't know. I mean, I haven't seen it or talked about it in a long time, so I don't know if opinion has changed on it, but it's Out of Sight, which is an early-ish Soderbergh film starring George Clooney and Jennifer Lopez, of all people. Yeah. And it is really good. It's really good.
It's Elmore Leonard, isn't it? Like from a book by Elmore Leonard.
Yeah, it's about a bank robber played by George Clooney who ends up kidnapping basically an FBI agent played by Jennifer Lopez, and then, plot happens. There's a fantastic just one-shot scene of them in the trunk of a car sort of getting to know each other for the first time as kidnapped woman and escaped convict who's just burrowed out of prison next to her car. And the villain of the piece is played by Don Cheadle, who I don't think he's ever been better. And he I really like him, apart from in the Oceans films where I really like him, but because his accent's ridiculous. But he's fantastic as Snoopy Miller, I think, who is a boxer who always goes down. That's why they call him Snoopy, because you pet him and he goes down like a dog. And so he's just a corrupt boxer, basically. It's great. No, it's a great film. And weirdly, I mean, the elephant in the room being Jennifer Lopez, she, to my knowledge, hasn't picked a good film again. She's clearly talented, because in this she is perfect, and the chemistry between her and Clooney is wonderful, and she just has picked turkeys since. I haven't seen The Cell, which I've heard is all right. It's at least interesting, but she's only done terrible films since this one.
Yeah. But what's good about this was Steven Soderbergh's, he was an art house director, really, and so he was trying to do not necessarily a mainstream movie, but like a Hollywood movie, because he wasn't getting Hollywood movies.
Yeah, this is pre-Ocean's 11.
Yeah, this is 98, I think, is it? 90?
Yeah,
anyway, this is before he was still doing, he was still the sort of art house, schizopolis kind of, guy. So it's like, and it was like he got to do this movie which was really, really popular. And also, I think it's good with it's interesting stuff with time, and you don't know when it starts, but it does.
Yeah,
start,
there's a lot of flashbacks
really
to prison, and
I've not read the book, so I don't know if that's in the book. I imagine it possibly is, but I mean, it's great the way it's
yellow boiler suits in prison. That's interesting. Just you start paying attention. You go, they're not orange. Interesting. Where are they going with this? So this is the opening scene where I was going to say Axel Foley. That isn't the character's name. Jack Foley, I think. George Clooney's character. He basically goes in and robs a bank without a gun or raising his voice or ever doing anything. It's just sort of, and George Clooney wasn't a big star at this point, really. He'd done ER and so was a big sort of household favourite, but he just as an introduction to an actor is it's so cool. Before we're sort of bored of him because he's done it for ages now, but he's like this was sort of I think it's a really good introduction to being smooth.
Yeah, because he's the perfect sort of smart criminal. They're kind of like the way that like Redford would have been like. He's like a 70s sort of. You've got to be someone like Redford, or you've got to be someone like Pacino. You've got to be. You can't just be brute force, and Clooney is like obviously looks like he could punch your face in, but that's not. But you're not scared
really
of him.
Does.
He's
it's about the hero should be smarter than the villains, and that is from that era rather than the villain. The hero should say nothing and just kill everyone, which seems to me now.
So this is it. So I explain what's going on.
Okay.
So in a bank, Foley. Are you going to be Foley? You're going to be.
Yeah, I'll be Foley.
I'll be the bank teller, Loretta.
You're Loretta.
Foley stands at a bank teller's window, flicking a Zippo lighter on and off. Behind him, we see a man in a suit with an open briefcase sitting with an executive. That's important for later.
Yes. Are you going to play man as well?
I'll do man as well, shall I?
Yeah.
I'll do my female voice and then my male
Give your
voice,
Loretta.
and then I'll give my Loretta. Oh, not again.
Are we doing voices? Can I just
It's up
check?
to you.
Do
you want to do voices?
Oh, well, that's pressure now, isn't it? I will do my best George Clooney, which is somewhere close to Morgan Freeman.
How can I help you, sir?
Loretta, you see that man talking to your bank manager? He has his case open.
That's Mr. Guidon, one of our assistant managers. Our manager, Mr. Showen. Our manager is Mr. Showen, but he's not in today.
But you see the man with the briefcase?
Yes?
That's my partner. He has a gun in there. And if you don't do exactly what I tell you, or if you give me any kind of problem at all, I'll look over at my partner and he'll shoot you, Mr. Gindian. Gindian? Don't know. Mr. Gindian between the eyes.
Loretta goes stiff, swallows, and stares back at Foley.
Now take one of those big envelopes and put as many hundreds, 50s, and 20s as you can pack into it. Nothing with bank straps or rubber bands. I don't want any die packs. I don't want any bait money. Start with the second drawer and then the one over there underneath the money counter. Okay, it's okay. Come on, Loretta. The key's right there next to you. There we go. No bills off the bottom of the drawer, please. First time robbing a bank? You're doing great. Just smile, Loretta, so you won't look like you're being held up. You've got a very pretty smile. Here, give me the 20s. I'll put them in my pocket. Okay, I haven't had to give my partner a sign. That's good. Now, he's going to wait 30 seconds until I'm out of the building. Make sure you haven't set off the alarm. If you have, he's going to shoot your Mr. Gindian between the eyes, okay? I think that'll do it, Loretta. Thank you, and have a nice day.
You too. Foley heads to the door. He pauses by Mr. Gwyndian's desk and looks at Loretta. Foley smiles at her. Then he turns to the man sitting with Mr. Gwyndian and indicates Loretta.
She's cute, isn't she?
Yeah, she seems very nice. Foley winks at Loretta and walks out. Who was that? Scene.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what's one of your favourite miscellaneous scenes from any film ever?
Well, this one is, I sort of, because it's so hard, I went through who my favourite directors are broadly and then sort of picked one out of their things, you know? And this is the least Coen Brothers film. You know, like Topsy Turvy is the least Mike Lee film. You know, this is the Hudsucker Proxy, which I absolutely love. I think it's a near perfect film, and it's got so many just tricks and nice. Because it feels like the directors, I guess, are playing. You know, and this scene is the lead guy played by Tim Robbins meets the girl played by Jennifer Jason Leigh for the first time in a diner, and she is a journalist who has her eyes on him and wants to try and get into his life so she can find stuff out. And so when she goes into the diner to track him down, and she pretends to be a woman in distress in order to finagle her way into his life, the scene is observed from across the bar by two cabbies who are having a coffee, and it's all POV from them, and it's their monologue, and you can't hear what the two principal characters are saying, and it's wonderful. It comes out of nowhere, and you don't meet these guys again. It's a skit in the middle of it, and it's so just sort of beautiful. I think it's great.
It's really well shot. And also, I think this film is very much like a sort of not Greek tragedy, 'cause it's not a tragedy, but these are like the chorus, almost. Because I think the film ends with, and I never know you're supposed to pronounce it because I've only ever seen it written down, but as I like to call it, the Deus Ex Machina.
Yeah.
Ends with a Deus Ex Machina.
Deus Ex Machina.
Yeah, no. Well,
okay, the Deus Ex.
Those of us that haven't trained in the theatrical arts, Deus Ex Machina.
Yeah.
Which I think is, it was Deus Ex Machina. Like,
Yeah.
Bob Foss. Everyone knows this is how things go. But so basically at the end, it even has that sort of, someone that literally just comes out and goes, okay, everyone, we're going to have to end it now.
Yeah.
Like, so it's very much like a sort of classic play structure. Not in structure, but that's what's interesting about the Coen Brothers. They'll do lots of stuff like that where they'll have, because like The Big Lebowski is like a Chandler Private Eye novel. There's they do lots of stuff where they have preposterous period pieces that are actually genre
pieces, but then they do stuff no one's done before with them. I mean, there's this, I think, a propensity with a lot of less talented people to feel comforted by the fact something they're doing has been done before. Whereas I think the Coen Brothers, that sort of anathema to them. They go, well, if it's been done before, why are we doing it? But the genre is still an interesting thing to play with. So, no, I think that they're never boring. I think, I don't love all of their films, but they're never boring, and I appreciate it.
If you do something set in the 40s, I think it's the 40s, isn't it? It's like it's old, isn't it? But like, they haven't gone for a screwball comedy, even though it's very fast and very zippy. They didn't go, we'll just do a 40s, we'll just do sort of, a farce. It's actually, it's almost, it's just really weird. They go, let's just set it in 1947 for no real reason other than why not?
Then people can talk like this, see? Yeah. Which is great.
Jennifer Jason is great. Is it Muncie? He's from, is it Muncie?
Yeah,
Go for Muncie. For Muncie. Do it for Muncie, kid.
Go for Muncie. Come on, kid. And
I like you. You've got Moxie.
You got Moxie. Jennifer Jason Leigh's brilliant in it, and her editor is John Mahoney, as in Frasier's dad, and her co-worker is Bruce Campbell, criminally underused in this film.
The thing is that Hudsucker Proxy is written with Sam Raimi. Sam Raimi writes it with the Coen Brothers. So it's one of the few Coen Brothers films that they didn't write themselves.
So they had to use his mate.
Well, Sam Raimi's second unit director on it. So all the weird other. So it's like a really weird. Like, it must have been a thing because they were mates because one of the Coen Brothers edited Evil Dead. And they also wrote, was it Crime Wave, which is really good. The XYZ Murders, which is actually really good. Again, scandalously underusing Bruce Campbell. Bruce Campbell is either overused or underused.
Dark man underused. For a reaction shot at the end. That's
and then they do the two straight to DVD sequels. And you think, well, surely we just stick with this face for a bit. No. Arnold Vosloo.
Oh. I always said Vosloo.
Well,
always. Well, I talk about him so often.
I'll tell you what. I'll give you Deus Ex Machina. I'll have Vosloo.
Vosloo. Hang on. I think you're getting both of them there.
In your face.
So do you want to be? They're called in the script. They're called veterans.
Yeah, it just says cafe veterans, but doesn't mean.
As in they're veterans of cafe culture, rather than they went to Vietnam early.
Yeah, for a holiday before it all went wrong. It was lovely back in the day.
Lovely place.
Yeah.
If you don't like fire, it's a lovely place to go.
I simply died in Vietnam.
We're sort of American men.
Yeah. Who are you going to be? Veteran 1 or Veteran 2? I don't think it...
you can be Benny, Veteran 2. How about that?
Okay.
And I will be Veteran 1.
Okay. Interior...
It's going a bit silly.
We're going to try voices again?
Yes. I'm stuck in this voice of an American man now.
I'm so sorry. The wind changed.
This is how I speak now. I better get my voice real recut.
Interior coffee shop, a cheap coffee shop in a half flight down from the street. Norval sits dejectedly, that's Tim Robbins, stirring a cup of coffee. Two veterans of the coffee shop who from this point narrate the scene.
I got gas, Benny.
Yeah, tell me about it.
No kidding, Benny, I got gas.
You get that special?
Far from it. Enter the dame.
There's one in every story.
$10 says she's looking for a handout.
$20 says not here, she don't find one.
She's looking for a mark.
The woman's eyes set on Norville, and she heads for the empty stool next to his. She finds him.
She sits down.
And orders a light lunch.
She looks in her purse.
No money.
The mark notices.
He's not noticing, Benny.
Maybe he's wise.
He don't look wise.
Plan 2. Here comes the waterworks.
Yellowstone.
Old Faithful.
Hello, Niagara.
He notices.
He's concerned.
She explains her predicament and
enter the light lunch. She's got other problems, of course.
Her mother needs an operation.
Adenoids.
No, Benny. Lumbago. She's losing him, Benny.
Maybe he's wise.
He don't look wise.
As Norville turns to leave, how does she pull this out? She puts the back of her hand dramatically on her forehead.
She isn't.
She is. And indeed she does, faint dead away, falling backwards on the stool so that Norville has no choice but to catch her. Norville holds her awkwardly, looking for help.
She's good, Benny.
She's damn good, Lou. A waitress enters. Can I get your boys anything else?
Bromo.
Bromo. Scene.
Yeah.
There you go, see? You know how it works, isn't it?
Oh, right, okay. I don't know how it works.
No, it's fine. It's fine. So we'll move on to your next.
My next, from another one of my favourite directors, and this is probably my favourite film from my childhood. This is Time Bandits, directed by Terry Gilliam, and written by Terry Gilliam and Michael Palin. There's lots of good films out there that are written by members of Monty Python, and just one or two. They basically did one each, I think. Like Terry Jones wrote Labyrinth, and you just go, "What? Oh, that's awesome!" And then did Cleese write what's it called? Only Fierce Creatures is coming into Fish Called Wonder.
Yeah,
thank you. God's sake. Yeah, So this Time Bandits it's a beautifully sort of imaginative and magical film, I think, about a young boy who lives in a boring modern family, and he dreams of knights and wizards and adventures, basically. And then one night, 6 dwarves appear in his wardrobe, lost, and take him through a time hole and jump around time. But rather than do good, they are going around time in order to steal stuff. And that's the setup for it, because they've stolen the map from the Supreme Being, because it's their job to fix the holes in space and time, and instead they're jumping through them to steal cups off Napoleon or Robin Hood's gold. It's a lovely idea. Anyway, the villain of the piece is simply evil incarnate, and he lives in the Fortress of Ultimate Darkness, and he's played by David Warner, and I think he's probably one of my favourite villains in anything.
David Warner's also
so good.
David Warner's brilliant as well. Like, I'm never unhappy to know David Warner's in something. There was talk of doing a sequel. But they wanted to do a sequel. They've always wanted to do a sequel, but then
I'm not up on sequels of things that are wonderful. I just say it's. When has it not been a bad idea? I mean, we fall for it every time, though, don't we? We do go and see them and just go, "Oh, I'm really disappointed." It's like, what were you expecting?
Yeah, Time Bandits 2.
Yeah. I mean, David Rappaport is dead.
Yeah.
And he's
that's
the
mainly
best
the reason,
character.
That's mainly the reason they didn't do the sequel, was because everyone was either dead or like...
Sean Connery's retired.
Yeah.
Ian Holm's still around.
Holm's still around.
I mean, if you don't know the film, I mean, it's just got the most phenomenal set of, I suppose you call them cameos, because it's quite like an Odyssey. They go from one place to another. So Ian Holm plays Napoleon, and John Cleese is a brilliantly sort of patronising royal, being Robin Hood. And what do you do? Oh, jolly good. That's awfully good. And how long have you been a robber? 4'1". 4'1", really? That is a long time, isn't it? It's brilliant. And Sean Connery is Agamemnon, and yeah.
Apparently, in the original scripts, they wrote the script together. When Agamemnon's description was, he takes off his helmet to reveal someone who looks a bit like Sean Connery, but much cheaper.
Oh.
And then he ends up, I'll do that.
Oh god! I wonder who that actor is. The guy who went up for all Sean Connery's roles and just went, "Oh bloody hell, Sean's in the waiting room."
What it would be?
I'm not getting this.
Ian Hendry.
I don't know who he is.
Ian Hendry. He was the guy from Piss Holes in the Snow. Get Carter.
Oh yes.
And the guy who whichever one of the Amicus things where he gets killed and comes back as the POV zombie one. Him, he would be the. He's great. Don't get me wrong. I think Ian Hendry's brilliant, but he would definitely be the not Sean Connery doesn't want it. Give it to Ian Hendry role. I think.
So can I be David Warner?
Of course, it's your perfect movie.
You've named them as minions.
I'm not sure what their name. I forgot what their names are. Just because I was just doing hurriedly.
Their names are Robert and Benson. And there's some others who get killed. The setup of this, we sort of have to say, is whenever evil gets crossed with one of his minions, he just sort of gestures at them. There's a bolt of lightning, and they explode.
It's very funny
throughout this
because it's a really weird practical special. It's like it's a mixture of like sort of freeze frame, stop. Like they sort of stop it and move out free. That kind of stopping, move up. Then there's like it's a really weird.
In fact, when one of them dies, he basically explodes apart from his legs, and then the explosion reverses back into his legs, and then the whole thing explodes. It's really weird.
So he's in his throne. This is the fortress of
ultimate darkness.
Are you going to do a David Warner impression?
I can't do a David Warner impression. I wish I could. I'm going to do an impression of an English actor. That'll probably, of which I'm
very excited.
Hope one day to be.
Time Bandits. Evil is talking to his minions.
Evil existed long before there was good. I made myself. I cannot be unmade. I am all-powerful.
But why, if that's the case, are you unable to escape from this fortress? Evil fires a hand lightning bolt and explodes him.
It's a good question. Why have I let the Supreme Being keep me here in the Fortress of Ultimate Darkness?
Because you
Shut up, I'm speaking rhetorically.
Oh, of course.
I let him keep me here to lull him into a false sense of security.
Oh, clever.
When I have the map, I will be free, and the world will be different, because I have understanding.
Understanding of what, Master?
Digital watches. And soon I'll have understanding of video cassette recorders and car telephones. When I have understanding of them, I shall have understanding of computers. And when I have understanding of computers, I shall be the Supreme Being. God isn't interested in technology. He knows nothing of the potential of the microchip or the silicon revolution. Look how he spends his time. 43 species of parrot. Nipples for men. Slugs! He created slugs! They can't hear, they can't speak, they can't operate machinery. Are we not in the hands of a lunatic?
Minion 2. You see something horrible in the glute bath. Sir, look!
If I was creating a world, I wouldn't mess around with butterflies and daffodils. I would have started with lasers. 8 o'clock, day 1!
He flings a laser by accident. It hits a minion who screams, "Ah!"
Sorry.
See?
Yeah. Good thing. Okay.
The last scene, so the scene you've chosen for your final scene.
It's one that I think, as I say, it is that one scene too many where they've defeated the villain and you know he's got the girl, but you still have to see the wedding scene. But this one has a little surprise in store, and that's why I think it justifies its place. It's Robin and Prince of Thieves, the ending of that.
Brilliant.
Where they are so aware of their casting. This scene would not work if Sean Connery wasn't more famous than Kevin Costner.
Yeah.
If it had been like Ian Holm, this scene would be a total failure. Yeah. It's like, oh, why are we watching this? But it's because it goes like, hold, I am also in this film! And that's exactly what you're excited about.
My name is Sean Connery. I approve this movie.
Yes.
Basically what it is. Well, apparently he was asked to do the Brian Blessed part first.
Oh, really?
That was his first. That was the first thing they wanted him to be his dad. But apparently he played too many dads, so he
had he done Last Crusade?
Yeah, and also he's like, I don't want to just play dads. I'd like to do something else. But obviously then we get Brian Blessed, who doesn't get to be as Brian Blessed as you want him to be.
Well, he does get to say, "For God and good King Richard!" Yeah! Which is about as Brian Blessed
But
as
he's in it for longer than that, so it could have been much more blessing.
Yes. Most of his part is just being very quiet.
Yeah.
Any news of my son? Does he still bear me ill will? Yes, it's brilliant. Join us.
I did hear it. I don't know if this
die.
is true or not, but
I love this film. I think I know every line in it. It's exactly the sort of historical film America should make, where no one tries any accents. Yeah. They just do their own. They can throw in anyone they like. I wouldn't care if Zorro was in it. Like it's great.
That's the thing. You watch it, and it's one of those things where I never cared that it was Kevin Costner.
No.
It's more when they just go, "Oh, we're going in Dover." It takes me we'll be in Nottingham by nightfall. You're like, oh, whoa.
No.
Like, now I can't. Now you're being stupid.
We will walk along Hadrian's Wall to get there.
Yeah.
And then we will go to Aysgarth Falls in Yorkshire, and then Hydra Force. Basically, all the waterfalls are from my childhood. But there was never a naked Californian man in swimming in the pool when I was
More's the pity.
Yeah, absolutely not. So who's playing whom?
Who do you want to be?
We actually did this for the Penny Dreadfuls. Yeah, it was my choice.
We filmed this. If you like this, you can see it online with us and the tall one and the short one.
Yes, the tall and short. And I play the middle one, who is Kevin Costner. But I would quite like to play Sean Connery in this if I can.
Absolutely. I think I should stick with Friar Tuck.
You were an excellent Friar Tuck.
Thank you.
Wearing my cowl.
Yes.
So many uses.
So, do we want people to help us with this? Anyone want to join? Ash, do you want to have a part in this?
You can be Kevin Costner.
Should we be Kevin Costner?
Yeah, why not?
Do your best. I'm acting in a historical drama voice.
And I think Marion has one line or two. Yes, two.
Or shall I be?
You be Marion.
I'll be Marion.
Yes.
So
play her as Loretta. I miss her.
Yes, well, it just so happens I have so many different female voices.
Okay.
Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, the ending. A beautiful wedding ceremony in the woods. Everyone is there. It's beautiful. Friar Tuck is getting to the end of the service. I say, any man who has reason why these two should not be joined, let him speak now or forever hold his peace. Pause. Surely nothing will happen to spoil this glorious moment. Then I now pronounce you...
Halt! I speak!
Bloody hell. Sean Connery. Richard!
I will not allow this wedding to continue.
My liege!
Unless I be allowed to give the bride away.
Oh, Richard!
You look radiant, cousin.
We are deeply honoured by your majesty.
The honour is all mine, Lord Loxley. Thanks to you, I still have the throne. Friar, proceed.
My liege, husband, and wife, you may now kiss the bride.
I know that bit.
A beautiful, lovely kiss, a wonderful ending to the story. For some reason, Friar Tuck decides to address the cinema audience directly, thus shattering any remaining suspension of disbelief. Get away with you. You're wasting good celebration time. He dances off like a lunatic. The end.
Oh. Mike McShane, who is a wonderful, wonderful man, and for fact fans, plays both Tuck and Roll, the pillar bugs in A Bug's Life. So there you go.
Thank you very much, Mr. David Reed!
Hi, girl.